WebXR lets you build complete AR and VR experiences as websites. Instead of downloading an app, the user simply opens a link, enters XR, and steps into a fully immersive world. Today, this technology is even capable of supporting complex games and immersive experiences for areas such as hotel booking and e-commerce. With the free Immersive Web SDK, we can build sophisticated WebXR applications that are cross-platform by design. They can run on XR headsets and glasses such as the Meta Quest, Pico, Apple Vision Pro, Snap Specs, Android XR devices, and more. We can even develop and test them directly inside the browser. In this video, we will set up our first WebXR project. While this tutorial is beginner-friendly, I recommend having at least a little JavaScript or TypeScript experience beforehand. You should also know the basics of Visual Studio Code or whichever development environment you prefer. We will begin inside of Visual Studio Code by opening the folder in which we want to store our WebXR application. Inside this folder, we can create a new subfolder for our project and give it a suitable name. Next, use the button in the top right corner to open the terminal. First, we want to make sure that Node.js version 2019 or higher is installed. We can check this by entering node-v. Next, let's create a new Immersive Web SDK project by typing npm create IWSDK. We can specify the version by adding another @ symbol. Usually, we can simply use latest. At the time of recording this video, I'm using version 0.4.2. You could install this exact version by entering npm create IWSDK at 0.4.2. For this tutorial, however, let's use the latest version and hit enter. This will open the project setup dialog. First, give the project a name and press enter. Next, we can choose which AI tools we want to use. Navigate through the available tools using the up and down arrow keys. Use the left and right arrow keys to select or deselect them, and then press enter to continue. For the programming language, we will use TypeScript throughout this tutorial. We will of course also enable XR support. For this project, we are going to build an augmented reality application. Next, we will be asked which WebXR features we want to enable. For this tutorial, we will set all of them to optional. These settings can also be changed later. One small inconvenience of setting certain features to required is that the browser simulator may display errors when it cannot provide those features. For that reason, I usually set features to optional during development and testing. Before publishing the application, you can then specify which features are actually required for the experience to work. Because we are building an AR application, we will enable scene understanding. We will also enable environment raycasts, grabbing, and physics simulation. The setup also includes an option for the Meta Spatial Editor. This is a visual 3D editor that can be very useful when building VR environments. For this tutorial, however, we will not need it. Finally, let's allow the setup tool to initialize a Git repository and install all the required dependencies. Once the setup is complete, we can open the project folder in the Explorer panel on the left. Here we can see the complete project structure and all the files that were generated for us. The public folder contains assets that are served directly by the application, such as 3D models, textures, audio files, and our spatial UI configuration. Most of the application logic is located inside of the source folder. The main entry point is index.ts. This is the first TypeScript file loaded by our application, and it is responsible for configuring the Immersive Web SDK world and creating the initial scene. We can divide this file into 5 main sections: imports, assets, world configuration, entity creation, and system registration. At the top, we import the Immersive Web SDK and 3JS classes that we need. These include classes for creating the world, loading assets, building 3D objects, and attaching capabilities such as interaction, grabbing, and audio. Below that, we import our own components and systems from files such as robot.ts and panel.ts. Next, we have the asset manifest. The asset manifest lists the external files used by our application, including the plant and robot models, the WebXR logo texture, and the audio file. Each asset has a unique name, a URL, a type, and a loading priority. Critical assets must be loaded before the world is ready, while background assets can continue loading without blocking the application from starting. The actual files are stored inside the public folder, usually organized into separate folders for models, textures, audio, and so on. After declaring the assets, we create the Immersive Web SDK world using world.create. The first argument is the scene container from our index.html file. The HTML file itself is intentionally very small. It contains an empty div element for our experience and loads index.ts as a module. Immersive Web SDK uses this container to display the rendered 3D scene. The second argument passed into world.create contains the configuration for our application. First, we provide the asset manifest that we declared above. Then we configure the XR session. The session mode is set to Immersive AR because we are creating an augmented reality application. You may notice that we have two different feature sections here. The features inside the XR configuration describe capabilities that we request from the browser and the XR device. These include features such as hand tracking, anchors, hit testing, plane detection, and mesh detection. The second feature section enables functionality provided by the Immersive Web SDK itself. This includes systems such as grabbing, physics, scene understanding, environment raycasts, and locomotion. So the first section describes which capabilities we request from WebXR, while the second enables higher-level features provided by the Immersive Web SDK. Creating the world is an asynchronous process. Once the world and all critical assets are ready, the code inside then is executed. Here we first retrieve the camera from the world and set its initial position. During an immersive XR session, the headset tracking controls the actual camera position and rotation. Next, we load the plant model from the asset manager. Because the plant was declared as a critical asset, we know that it's already available at this point. The model is a normal Three.js object, so we can set its position and scale before adding it to the Immersive Web SDK world. We do this with create transform entity. This creates an Immersive Web SDK entity connected to the Three.js object and its transform. We then add the interactable and distance grabbable components. These components describe that the plant can respond to interaction and can be grabbed from a distance. The robot is created in a similar way. We load the model, set its position and scale, and create an entity from it. We then add the interactable, robot, and audio source components. The robot component is a custom component that identifies this entity as a robot. The robot system can then find all entities with this component and apply robot-specific behavior to them. The audio source component stores the sound and playback configuration used when the robot is pressed. After that, the project creates the UI panel. Unlike the robot and plant, the panel doesn't begin with an existing 3D model. Instead, we create an empty transform entity and attach the panel UI component. This component points to the JSON file that defines the content and layout of the panel. The UI itself is authored in UIKit.ml, which looks a bit like HTML for spatial interfaces. While development, you can create new UI components using a familiar syntax. The Immersive Web SDK White plugin automatically compiles the UIKit.ml into a JSON file inside the public UI folder. At runtime, the panel UI component points to that JSON file, Immersive Web SDK loads it, interprets it, and it turns it into a live 3D UI panel. The screen space component positions the panel relative to the browser window, while the experience is outside an immersive XR session. The script also creates the WebXR logo manually by combining a plane geometry with a textured material. This is an example of how normal Three.js objects can be used together with the Immersive Web SDK entity component system. Finally, we register the panel system and the robot system. This brings us to the basic entity component system structure used by Immersive Web SDK. An entity represents a thing inside of the experience, such as the robot, the plant, or the UI panel. Components store data or describe the capabilities of an entity. Systems contain logic and apply behavior to entities with particular components. The robot system finds entities with the robot component and rotates them so that they face the player. It also detects when the robot has been pressed and it plays the configured sound. The panel system controls the button inside the welcome panel. It starts or exits the XR session and updates the text of the button depending on the current session state. This separation makes the application easier to extend. Instead of placing all data and behavior inside of one large class, we can combine small components and systems to give entities exactly the capabilities they need. Let's test what our WebXR application looks like. Open the terminal again, and because our terminal is currently outside the generated project folder, we first need to navigate into it. For that, type cd, then enter the beginning of the folder name, press Tab to autocomplete, and press Enter. Once we are inside the project folder, run npm run dev. This starts the local development server. You should now see a browser window open with a localhost address. To start the simulator, click the Enter XR button and press Play. The controls work similarly to a game. Use the mouse to look around. Pressing WASD moves the left controller's joystick. Holding Shift while pressing WASD allows you to move through the scene. Use the left mouse button to press the right controller trigger, or press Q to activate the left controller trigger. Pressing Escape opens the simulator settings. Here you can manually adjust values such as the player height. You can also switch between controller and hand simulation and select a different simulated environment. To test the experience on a real headset, make sure that your headset and computer are connected to the same Wi-Fi network. Then enter the network URL shown in the terminal into the headset's browser. This is the address I'm highlighting here. You may see a warning telling you that the connection is not private. In that case, select the advanced settings and choose the option to continue to the page. Once the application has loaded, click Enter XR and allow access to the required spatial data. And here we have our WebXR application running live on the device. Congratulations! You've just built your first WebXR application.